Oh boy. Dude. I don't even want to. I don't want to talk about it yet because I'm going to want to talk about it all again in 10 minutes when people start to drip in. But, dude, I'm already so sick of the second Trump presidency. And not because of Trump. Not because of Trump. Partly because of Trump. But he's honestly not the most egregious thing about what's going on right now. Oh my god. I can't wait for some people to jump in here because, dude, I need to fucking. I need to get some shit out. God damn it. My vape is starting to die again. God damn it. The endless cycle, dude. Buy a new vape, hit it, it tastes great. Tastes great for the next 4 days. And it starts to taste not so great. And then 2 weeks into the process, just awful. It hasn't gotten to the awful stage yet, but I can tell it's getting close to it. Anyway. I guess for now, we can hit the bong together. The Eastern world, it is exploding. Violence flaring and bullets loading. You're old enough to kill, just not for voting. When you don't believe in war, well, what's that gun you're toting? And even that Jordan River's got bodies floating, but you tell me over and over and over again, my friends, I don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. Feels so good to know that the bowl that I'm using is actually a quality bowl. What's up, Omar? Finally, some people have arrived. Greetings. I need you people. I need all of you. Because the idea of this stream is to have a conversation. And that is way harder to do when there are 0 people in here. So, yeah, good to see people are finally starting to filter and smoke that bowl. That's what we're getting up to tonight. That's the first order of business, for sure. That one's gonna make me cough pretty hard. We knew that was coming. I'm great. I'm okay, I guess. Great. Honestly, might be stretching it a bit, but I'm all right. Yo, can you make a moderator? No. The rule about moderators on this channel is that I notice people who subscribe and come back time and time again, And I notice people who make intelligent comments that are respectful and capable of assisting along a conversation. If you don't match that criteria, you will never be a mod here. And if you do match that criteria, well, you'll be a mod if I decide that I want you to be. And the only thing begging for it is going to get you is banned. So get it out of your head if that's what you're here to do. Please don't fart. Or, huh? I'm not, bro. Oy vey. It's going to be one of those nights, isn't it? Isn't it? Or it's just going to be nothing but retarded people in chat all night. We could be having an interesting conversation, and instead you guys are just going to sit here and talk about farts and stupidity. Lemao, what are you? Whatever your mom needs me to be tonight, you know? I always call her to make sure before I go over. My name is Dalton. It's dry where I'm at. Can you spare a couple of birds? What? Dude, that is some fucking terminology that we don't be using over here, I gotta tell you. I don't know what birds means. I think I can translate the rest of that sentence. Like, we're pretty dry over here is like that's pretty universal, right? That's like, man, we're out of bud, you know? But what are birds? What do you identify as? A lot of different things, and so do you. One of the identifications I make of myself is as a member of the femme gender, kind of binary in this society. Another way I identify myself is as a conversationalist. Another way I identify myself is as a farmer. There's a bunch of different identities that I choose to apply to myself on the basis of some aspect of my life. And so do you. It's just that the rest of them haven't been politicized, and so you don't care about them. Funny how that works. I just got fired from my job from a banker. Some guy asked me to check his balance, so I pushed him over. I'm not sure what I did wrong. Oh my god, that was retarded. That was such a fucking waste of my time. God damn it. I'm a gamer. Well, good for you. No, it's fine. Well, that was creepy. Dude, it just fucking, the wind just blew super hard on this outbuilding that I'm out here in. It was like kind of jarring, honestly. What's your pronouns? Just giving me I'm confused. I'm confused about what you're asking, and I'm too blind to see what your name is. But my pronouns are she, her, hers. And if I think I understand what you're saying correctly, then I'm afraid to tell you that you're wrong. Unless like random trans phases happen to last like half a decade, and no desire to do anything different, then maybe. But at what point does a phase become legitimate character development? God damn it. That's my question to you. It a Kamala voter run. Oh my god, bro. It a Kamala voter. Okay, even if you're going to call me an it, at least capitalize your I. Alright? Now, I know you're retarded. You missed your answers in school. And you certainly aren't going to take any remedial ones as an adult. Let me catch you up, right? In English, when you begin a sentence, you begin it with a capital letter. If you're typing on a keyboard, this will mean pressing the shift key as you type the first letter of your sentence. If you are typing on a cell phone, it'll mean tapping the shift key or the capitalization key, pressing the letter, and then typing out the rest of your sentence, right? Okay. Furthermore, proper nouns like people's names are also capitalized in English. So you do the same procedure to make the little k turn into a big K, right? And that's true and proper in terms of grammar, regardless of how you feel about the person that you're talking about. But now that I have translated your utter and complete monkey stupidity into something like English, no, I'm not a Kamala voter. Believe it or not, I was ineligible to vote this year, and I was very happy to be, because Kamala Harris does not have the working class of America's best interests at heart, and neither does Donald Trump. The fact of it is that there was an election this year between Republican and Republican light, between someone who wants to oppress the working class and someone who wants to oppress the working class and act like they wish they didn't have to. And I saw the writing on that wall, and I saw what Biden was going to be 2 months into his presidency. And I did not go into this election with any emotional investment in it whatsoever. I don't care that Donald Trump won, at least insofar as having like an emotional attachment to the outcome. There are some alarming things that I've seen since he got elected that do make me wonder what the next 4 years might look like, but I'm not going to start catastrophizing until we have a legitimately good reason to believe that something untoward is happening, because as of right now, it's probably just going to be another fucking neoconservative administration in the White House. It's probably just going to be another Donald Trump, just like he was the first 4 years. I bet he will be like that in his second 4 years. I think he might be a little harsher and a little more malicious in his policies. I think that's about the maximum amount of change we see out of him. Because Donald Trump might be a lot of things, no matter how you feel about him. But one thing you cannot take from him is that he is a fucking rich guy. He is a billionaire. He is a man whose entire premise, whose entire existence is built upon wealth and built upon the manipulation of it. Donald Trump is not going to do a fucking thing in this country that is going to upset any sort of economic, I genuinely don't think that Trump will be allowed to proceed forward with anything that will damage the American economy in such a way as to start making things crash. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it's really difficult for me to imagine a president choosing to do anything that inconveniences billionaires in this country. You don't even know what gender you are? Yes, I do. I'm a woman. Easy as. What are you? You know, in polite society, we refrain from using the R word. Please try not to use it. How about this? I won't tell you what to say in your house, and you won't tell me what to say in mine. You might notice that I'm not in public right now, and that I'm not subject to the rules of decorum that you might expect people in your household to follow, or that you might expect people in public to follow. And I will say the word retarded if I want to. As an autistic person who was called retarded for most of my younger life in school, so elementary school, middle school, I find it really fucking condescending that people are constantly trying to police my use of that phrase and my use of that sort of language, as if it wasn't levied at me millions of times in my childhood. I think I've earned some right to levy it back at other people, and if you want to stop me, then, I don't know, subscribe, and when Super Chats turn on, pay me $20 and I won't say it for an entire stream. How about that? Breaking news, a man named James was recently fired from a banana factory for throwing away the bent ones. I am the Void. Do you just post nonsense in every chat you go to? Is that your thing? Trump going against people who either with a plan he got planned or they is known. What? Huh? I'm fucking... Bro, this comment is gibberish. Let me just read this entire comment, Somebody else tell me if this is not gibberish, because this has got to be gibberish, right? I'm not the only one reading this, right? Okay. Trump going against people who either with a plan he got planned or they is no intelligent enough to go toe-to-toe he cooking everybody. Huh? Can someone please listen? I have to be the idiot whisperer all day long at my job. Can someone else please be the idiot whisperer for a minute and explain what the fuck that dude just said? Let me see. Bro, if you're 12, then fucking get out of here. Literally. Be gone, bitch. This is a fucking 18 and up chat. This is a place for adults and young adults to fucking congregate and hang out and share strategy and talk fucking crazy philosophical shit. This is not a place for little kids. We talk about adult topics here. Not all the time, but it is something we broach, and I don't want to have to be considering your little 12-year-old ass every time. And more than all of that, I press the "no, this is not for kids" button whenever I start these streams. That should tell YouTube to stop putting people in my, to stop putting me in the algorithm of people who are clearly 12. That would be truly nice. Really, truly nice. Because I don't know what it is about being that young that makes people think that, dude, I swear to God, and this is going to sound real mean, but kids think that we want to hear their fucking opinions and shit. Dude, unless you are a very fucking unique child, I don't want to hear your motherfucking opinions or prescriptions about Jack or Diddley. Sorry. Not in my fucking wheelhouse. Like, until you've worked a job for a few years, until you've had a few breakups, had to sleep on some couches, until you've had to, until you've had some really cool experiences too, like until you've had like a good 4 or 5 years of life, and I'm willing to grant that starts for different people at different times, right? But until you've had that, you really ain't got shit to add to the conversation, bud. And at 12, you don't. It's just not, there's no fucking way. You would have to be your experience would have to be one of the most insane experiences of a child your age in the entire country. And everybody would want to be knowing your story from a scientific standpoint. And there would probably be a child psychologist who would go through your life story with you so far and help document it. But you would not be, you would not be doing that in a stream. Actually, I was trying to lighten the mood because I saw a bunch of hate comments and felt bad. But so far, you've responded negatively to both of them. Well, that's just because everybody's being stupid in the chat, so that's just kind of like the vibe. It's not anything personal towards you. I know it probably sounds like it is because I've mentioned your name, but that's just, like, you may have realized that calling people out by name specifically is, for whatever reason, it drives engagement, right? People like to be addressed directly. But I also kind of thought you might just be a bot, honestly, because both of the things you posted were like dad jokes that I've definitely seen a bot post before. But the fact that you responded to that so specifically tells me you're not a bot. So my apologies. Bro, I still can't understand your fucking 12-year-old ass. Admit it. Feezy, are you a fucking kid? Person whose name I can barely pronounce. Are you a child? Are you like 8 or something? Were you playing Fortnite earlier, kid? What do you think the odds are of Trump dying in office? About 50-50, honestly. Like, just think about it. Donald Trump is a very old man at this point. He is not, from what we can tell, not exactly the healthiest of dudes. He's kind of had a weight problem for like the last 30 years or so. He's always eaten badly. He's always been addicted to like fast food convenience shit, So there's a lot of like health reasons why I could see Donald Trump keeling over within the first couple of years of him being in office. Um, Obviously, there's also like uh, national security things that could happen. Um, you know, I genuinely hope they don't, because I literally, and I stand by this. I don't think that that like political violence on that level, I don't think it accomplishes anything but turning people against your cause. It doesn't matter who does it, from what direction. It's not a good look. Just first and center. And I'm not a big advocate for the death penalty, so I don't believe in killing someone regardless of the amount of damage they're doing. I don't think that undoes their damage. If they're doing damage with their power, then the correct thing to do is remove them from that power. You can do that, especially in America, with methods that don't involve guns, right? So I hope that nothing like that happens, and I don't really think it will. Honestly, I can't imagine that after the last like 6 months worth of campaigning Trump has done, and the amount of close calls and shit there's been. Like he got his ear almost shot off. Like I can't imagine that Donald Trump will ever be allowed to be exposed to any sort of open gunfire again without extensive shielding around him. Like if you notice now, the last few times he's done a rally, his podium has bulletproof glass all around it. Not all around it, maybe, but any angle that the Secret Service couldn't 100% cover every bit of it, every single angle like that has big old fucking bulletproof glass on it now. Yeah, yeah, okay, well, let me help you out then. Fucking be gone, child. I ain't your mama. I ain't trying to be a grandma, and I fucking neither. Hi, kitty. I love you too. So yeah, I think there's a far better than zero chance that Donald Trump dies in office. I don't know what the cause of that will be or what the story. Cat! God damn, bro. I hate it when he does that. Literally, like, oh, bro. It was fine when he was just sitting there, but then he wanted to, like, move down onto my leg and, like, leave his fucking ass on my shoulder, and it's just fucking uncomfortable. And then when I try to move him, he, like, tries to dig in his fucking claws. It's like, fuck, bro. Anyway, since we're talking about Donald Trump anyway, I saw something kind of terrifying a little bit right before I popped on. It's one of the things that inspired me to start streaming, which is that so apparently Donald Trump is now talking about using, like declaring a state of national emergency and using the power of the military to prosecute mass deportation project he has. And it was a little scary to me because just the other day, I was literally talking about how the only way I could see this even being feasible is if the military was brought in on it. And I was talking about kind of doing the opposite of what Trump's wanting to do, which is to devote military, which, by the way, this just goes to prove that the shit I was talking the other day is possible. And what I was talking about doing is using the military in furtherance of increasing the legal immigration quotas, increasing the amount of people we are legally bringing in with paperwork and everything. It's 100% possible. If it wasn't, why would they be using the military right now? Or not, well, not right now necessarily, but why would Donald Trump be planning on using the U.S. military in furtherance of deportations? So immigration work is something the military can be assigned to, which, in my opinion, means it should be assigned to helping as many people become legal as possible Dude, most fucking illegal immigration to this country happens through visa overstays, which means human beings that have paperwork. That's what it fucking means. I don't know. I don't know how to explain this to people. You don't get a visa unless you have fucking like a Mexican driver's license or some sort of fucking birth certificate and shit. Like, there's a little fucking, you know, there's paperwork that goes along with that, which means all of these people, if granted amnesty the way Ronald Reagan did, all of these people could be assisted through the citizenship process, and they would all of them super duper gladly become citizens. Dude, do you know how many Mexican people utterly love America, even though they don't even speak enough English to talk about how they love it? The fucking stereotype that conservatives will paint of Mexican people is so fucking stupid. Literally so goddamn ass backwards from the way Mexican people and Hispanic people broadly actually fucking are. Oh, man. But it'll be interesting to see if he actually does it. It wouldn't surprise me if he does, because, you know, just like I had been saying, he's got nothing to lose, so maybe he'll do some cool shit. That also means because he's got nothing to lose, he could definitely do some uncool shit, like tanking the American economy through a lot of really terrible economic and immigration decisions. And it's looking more and more day by day like that's what he's planning on doing. That's scary. That, to me, is way more scary than all the social issue shit that people keep bringing up because I'm trans, right? People will see me and assume that what I worry about when it comes to Trump is something to do with my gender identity, but that's got nothing to do with it at all, because that was really barely attacked under Trump. Literally, the only thing he did against people was kept them from entering the military. And that was repealed pretty much immediately upon Biden taking office. It was like one of the first things he did. So even if Trump reinstates it, I don't really think he'll go much farther than that. Maybe he will, but I don't really see it happening. What I do see happening is his cabinet picks. Those we know. We know who's picking for his cabinet, right? We know what sort of economic policies he claims he wants to shoot for. And we know what sort of immigration policies he's planning on pursuing. And all of those things are legitimately worrisome. Matt Gaetz is picked for Attorney General as a multiple rapist. His pick for... let me think if I can remember some of the other ones. Mike Huckabee is ambassador to Israel now, which I guess is not a cabinet position, but Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is now going to be the I think the head of the FDA, I think it was. So there's some wacky fucking picks in the Trump cabinet right now. We just have to hope he golfs for the entire time in office and doesn't actually follow through on his promises. Yeah, I mean, that would be the hope, right? Although I will tell you, my rule about hope is that false hopes bind us to unlivable situations and blind us to real possibilities. So, you know, I think that rather than hope for that, we would probably be better served to really start talking to one another and getting together and forming some kind of mass movement that can march on Washington peacefully and organize there and camp out until some basic shit in America has gotten fixed. Like, that is one of those things that we would not have to hope for. You know, hope would never have to come into the equation. We could allow our hopes to die when it comes to this. What is he going to do? How is it going to be? We could allow them to die and proceed forward. We could sally forth under the auspices that we are doing something because there is no hope left. Because there is only doing left. I don't know if that made any sense. It probably didn't. But yeah, long story short, um, don't just hope for stuff. But yeah, we can definitely hope that Trump spends most of his time golfing. But that's what I've been telling everybody is that, like, honestly, Trump's first 4 years were a pretty mundane presidency. I don't see why his second 4 years wouldn't be just as mundane. Because, I mean, you'll remember if you were around in 2016, Trump had a lot of crazy shit to say about what he wanted to do back then, too. And how much of it actually came to fruition, you know? Like, Trump wanted to do all kinds of crazy shit in his first 4 years. How much of it did he actually get done? He wanted to dismantle fucking Obamacare. He ended up adding to it. You know what I mean? He wanted to, uh, like, he talked about declassifying a bunch of shit even back in 2016. Dude, back in 2016, he was talking about declassifying the JFK files and shit. And, you know, like, that didn't happen. I mean, he did declassify some shit, but every president does, you know, like, it's just weird to think about. Yeah. I think I drove all the skibbities away. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We'll have to wait for another wave of skibbities. But, yeah, but I don't think he's actually going to follow through on a lot of his promises. I think that a lot of that shit is what they call red meat for the base. So, um, start thinking about politics in this way, and you will start to understand why so much crazy shit gets said every 4 years, but so little crazy shit actually happens. Um, Red meat to the base is when a politician says something that they 100% know is going to be widely popular with their base and probably even popular with lots of people outside their base, but that is 100%, you know, red meat to the base is, it specifically refers to um, propaganda that is specifically intended for the core base of supporters for a given politician. And it's meant to be kind of like extremist, passionate statements about the things that that person believes in, um, or more importantly, about the things that their core base of believers believe in. So if you're looking at like the Democrats or something, the Democrats are elected through a largely leftist / liberal base, right? There's a bunch of interchange and interplay between those two, but um, there's like a center left and an outright left kind of base of voters. And something that is always like red meat for the Democratic base is um, like having like a queer person do an announcement and have them talk about like gender theory and the intersection between it and capitalism. You know, like they have them talk about some sort of weird academic esoteria, and that's like a big win for the lefties, right? And then if they want to do red meat for the libs, right, then they'll talk about well, lately red meat to the libs has just been shitting Trump, honestly. But used to it might be something like um, we're going to guarantee transition surgery for every single trans person in this state if they want to pursue it, free of charge, paid for by an additional tax levied on medical instruments or something like that, right? Um, that would be an example of red meat to the liberal base. And if you're thinking about red meat to the Republican base, just think about rhetoric like we're going to deport every single illegal out of this country. Think about it. Is it practical? Not really. Trump's already saying he's going to have to involve the military in this process. Now, he's saying it with glee, but I don't think he'll be saying it with glee for much longer. So, is it practical? No. Is it desirable economically? Well, considering how much of the economic productivity that happens in this country happens on the back of immigrant labor, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that no, it's probably not an economically productive thing to do. Which only leaves, why did he say it? Well, or I'm sorry, it only leaves, is there actually any intention to do this shit, right? I don't think there is, because of those two reasons I just talked about. I think that it is 100% just red meat to the base. I think it's something that's meant to sound really appealing to your average Republican. It's meant to sound like a bold, sweeping plan that everybody can vote for and get behind. But if it is actually done, and this is, I just want to stress, this is why I'm pretty sure it's just red meat to the base, because if it's actually done, dude, the prices of fucking tomatoes, strawberries, any kind of fresh fruit or vegetable that you enjoy, and the prices of a lot of shit that are made with things that you don't even think about in terms of farming are going to go way the fuck up. Do you like almond milk? Do you like almond milk? Well, I hope you're prepared. I hope you're prepared to pay the almond milk prices that are going to come from a country that's been deprived entirely of its lowest rung of economic, contributors, the people who do the most hard manual labor in terms of our food supply and are paid the least for it. Without those people, your prices have to go fucking way up, because now you've got to pay the people that you are going to get to harvest it more. There's going to be less of your product because more of it's going to go to rot because it's going to be harder to find people. You're going to have to spend more in terms of hiring people and switching over your systems, and maybe even getting for the first time an actual HR system, because you've just been paying people under the table for 50 years. It would involve such a massive, massive overhaul of the way this country does all of its business that I just don't see it happening. It's too big a project. I don't think Trump could achieve it if he wanted to and had 200 years to see it done. Well, I think he could do it, but let me put it this way. I think if Trump had 200 years to recover from the fucking mess that would create, I don't know that he would ever successfully manage to do it. Come on, everybody. Why is everybody so quiet? But I will say, if that does end up happening, if by some fucking crazy twist of fate Trump is able to see that done, it really will be a crippling blow to this country. More so than any of the hateful rhetoric that Trump pushes, more so than any of the bullshit that he does in terms of his national stage presence or his presence on the international stage. More than any of that, destroying the entire labor base of America's farms would cripple this fucking country. And that is what immigration enforcement on the level Trump is talking about doing it would do. There's an earthquake? No. That's just the first. That's just the first lines from. It's the end of the world as we know it. That's great. It starts with an earthquake, hurricanes, and aeroplanes. Lenny Bruce is not afraid. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. Yeah. What's up, Pensive, by the way? I'm pretty sure I've seen you around in the DFF chat and the Paul's chats as well, so it's basically just doing the same thing over here. Sometimes they're more popping, sometimes they're less popping. Tonight's been a less popping night, so it's cool to see more people. Maybe there'll be a bunch more people jump in. That'd be neat. If he crashes the economy bad enough, he'll become very unpopular very fast, even within his own base. Well, yeah, like, that's the thing, is if he actually managed to crash the fucking economy, it would take a fucking act of God, or an act of extreme propaganda to not have everyone blaming Trump. But bear in mind that during the economic crash of Germany, during the, in the aftermath of the German economic crash and then the coup of the government by the Nazi Party and shit, remember that during the lead up to that and shit, the leaders of the Nazi Party were spreading dissent and sedition against the government on the basis of their having been influenced by Jews, right? So you have to keep in mind the power of propaganda, right? Because it is also very possible that the Republican Party or someone in Trump's camp figures out a way to turn Trump utterly fucking up the economy into Trump being manipulated by some shadowy force into cratering the economy, or Trump having no involvement in it due to some sort of manipulation that's outside of his control. People can find all sorts of reasons to still believe in someone that they've just sold their fucking heart and soul to, even if you give them every reason to stop fucking believing the bullshit, right? And you do have to consider that sort of thing when you consider how Trump will be taken in the event that his policies really start to fuck up. Now, maybe you're right, because, like, the internet exists now, so people can correspond with each other and share information, and there's way more visibility on shit than there used to be. Maybe that will translate to a more honest and genuine view of what Trump was and what he did in office. But I personally think that it's going to lead to more confusion, more estranging, more. I don't know. I don't know what to call it. But I just think it's going to lead to a lot of negative effects that we haven't necessarily thought of yet. Greet. Yeah, I don't get to watch DFF much anymore, but I try to float around the Paul space. Hell yeah. That's dope. I'm sorry I don't get to watch much anymore. I catch every Onion Nuggets live, even if I have to, like, just listen in an earbud, or, like, sometimes I'll pause it and shit, but I always make sure to catch up on them. I don't necessarily watch every single Patreon episode as it comes out, or every single short or anything like that, but all of their main channel content, all of their main stuff, I watch pretty religiously. But I like a lot of that is not even watching it so much as it is just like doing other things while I'm listening to it. That's like my main way of consuming podcasts and music. So yeah, he'll always be blameless to his staunch supporters. Exactly. I don't know if he'll always be. What I'm saying is that there is a huge potential that he is. Donald Trump is uniquely positioned to be allowed to be completely incompetent without any accountability, because his supporters are so ardent, right? They'll say shit like, the same people who stole the presidency from him gave it back to him just so they could force him to do things that make him look bad. Yeah, exactly. They will come up with the most fucking absurd mental gymnastics that you've ever heard to justify their continued support of someone who is clearly fucking them and their families' lives up. And a lot of them won't learn, if they ever do, until it's too late. A lot of them will literally be facing like bankruptcy or some horrible shit like that due to some Trump policy or some, you know, aspect of the Trump regime. And it won't be until that moment that people start throwing off the MAGA hat and being like, "Oh my God, what have I been doing with the last 12 years of my life?" But it's going to take something like that, dude. It's literally going to take like a near act of God to make people realize that shit. But yeah, some presidents just aren't allowed to be scumbags. Some presidents just are not allowed to be discussed too broadly as the horrible people that they are. And all of that just comes down to propaganda. It just comes down to having more foot soldiers willing to make a better argument. And it sucks sometimes that the righteous argument, the correct opinion, is not always easily presented, right? Um, so, like, there are some issues, right, that are super easy to talk about why we need them. Medicare for All is one of those issues that um, you can just argue it from so many different directions, and there's a moral weight to getting Medicare for All, multiple different kinds of moral weight to it as well. So, Medicare for All is one of those things you can 100% make easy arguments for, but there are also dicey opinions on the left that have a really good explanation, but that don't come maybe as easily. Like, for example, the idea of let me think here. Okay, so like the idea of worker co-ops, right? People understand unions; those are usually pretty easy to describe. But when you talk about a worker co-op, people just seem to have no idea what you're talking about or how that would work. And the way I usually explain it, and it's a convoluted kind of thing, but worker co-ops are businesses that survive in the capitalist environment that they exist within by combining the and intelligence of everyone working there, by combining that under one banner and as equals, and splitting up the profits, so the excess made after all business expenses are taken care of, splitting the profits evenly between all of them. And they maintain an ownership stake in the business that allows them to have a vote in decisions that are made by the company. That is a worker co-op, right? Very easy to explain if you know how to explain it, but if you've only heard the idea talked about, it would be super hard. You might just be like, well, it's like where people like work, like they work together and like they're like the same kind of like they're like the same person, but obviously they're not the same person, and they're like workers, and the more convoluted an idea is, the more likely it is to be explained badly. Yeah, I'm tired. How often do co-ops have the problem of people thinking the work is unevenly distributed, though? I've never experienced or witnessed one. In my experience, I've never worked with one, but I have lived in a state where they are fairly common. My experience is that doesn't usually seem to be an issue because everybody has a vote, right? So That's the beautiful thing about a worker co-op, is that if it's being run correctly, it's all self-correcting. So let's say somebody does, like, what's the mechanism by dealing with it? The democratic process. So let's say let's just take a resort as an example, right? Let's say you're working, or no, let's make it smaller. Let's make it a restaurant. Let's say you're working at a restaurant and you're one of a team of 3 dishwashers and 2 bussers, and you, as the person who is operating the dishwasher itself, you feel like you are being overworked because the nature of your job means that you're able to step away less, right? And let's say you don't feel like you have currently any way to remedy that easily. Well, you bring it up at the next collective meeting, right? And you bring up like, hey, whenever we're like we're in a rush, right? And we're 2 hours into a rush, right? And a bunch of people just got seated, but nobody's done yet, so there's really not many plates or anything. And so Frank and Joey go out and have a smoke, and that's fine. But the problem is that I'm not ever able to do that until everything dies down completely, because I've got so much stuff that I've got to process through here. And what I would like is if I could train one of the bussers on how to efficiently operate this and get them to where they can swap out for me. And I would like to, like, do a refresher course on busing so I know what I'm doing. And that way I can switch out for them. You know what I mean? Like, so that's just one example of how someone could feel unevenly distributed in terms of their workload, and remedy it through the democratic process by bringing it up to everyone and putting it to a vote. A lot of decisions wouldn't really need to be made with a vote. You can still have a a designated authority, right? You can still have like a kitchen elder, so to speak, somebody that can't fire you, right? It's not like that. That's not the nature of the arrangement, but somebody who is more experienced than you are and more skilled than you are at the job that they do, and is able to kind of like guide you and shit, right? You can still have a mentor, a foreman, that sort of thing, without making that person higher and above everyone else. And you can still give those people limited power to enforce like a separation, right? So it's like, you fuck up badly enough, they can send you home still, right? And there's more accountability for it than there would be with a regular business. But at the end of the day, they get sent home to deal with whatever they're dealing with. And then if it turns out to be like you shouldn't have been sent home, then if you're paid hourly or whatever, you get paid hourly, you get that the equivalent of hours added back onto your next check. Or if you're paid by salary, then you get like a little $200 pain and suffering bonus, so to speak. I see. Elder of plates, exactly. And if you think about it, that's kind of what a chef is, honestly. A chef is really not, from my understanding and my experience, chefs really aren't supposed to be, they're not supposed to necessarily be hiring and firing people. I mean, it is part of their purview, but a lot of times, in my experience, that's handled these days by some kind of kitchen manager or HR person or something like that. And the chef is really just responsible for running the kitchen, right? And you can still have a chef in a restaurant, even if that chef is co-equals with the dishwasher in terms of ownership of the business. You can still have a standard of respect for that chef and a standard of listening to them when it comes to their opinions on what needs to be done with a given dish, etc. The beautiful thing about anarchy is that when people have freedom of choice as much as you can with our limited free will, right? Um, which I guess means it's not free will. With our limited will, right? The limited amount of choices you have, opening those up maximally, right? Actually encourages people to, in my opinion, encourages them to act better in some cases. Because suddenly they don't feel like they're in chains anymore. They feel like they can pursue their own potential. They feel like they can make decisions that meaningfully affect their everyday life. Their everyday lives, I should say. You know, I learned the other day that there's apparently in some French kitchens a position of basically lead dishwasher, like main dishwasher. I wish I had known that back when I worked in the kitchen I used to work in. Dude, can I just confess something to you guys? I have a really strong desire to work in a kitchen again. Really strong. You know what I don't have a strong desire to do? Make $8 an hour. What do you have to do to get a job working in a kitchen that would pay you not minimum wage? Because as a person expecting a child, I literally can't afford to just work for minimum wage. And in Mississippi, there is no minimum wage, so just be whatever the federal is, and the federal is pretty low. So, what sort of restaurants do I have to look at to be able to go work in a kitchen again and get paid like 11 or $12 an hour? I must go. Thanks for talking with me. Have a good one. Well, thank you. Thank you, Pensive. Man, I just miss it, dude. Oh my god, y'all. I don't know what the fuck I want to do with my life, man. And when I say that, I don't mean that I feel like I'm going nowhere or anything like that. I just mean literally, like, I am at a point in my life where I'm already doing okay, but I could be doing so much more, and I know I could, and I want to do it. I just don't know which fucking direction to go. Dude, Paul said the other day that I'd make a good astrophysicist. Said, or he didn't necessarily say that, but he said, uh, somebody in chat said, um, you know, I could become an astrophysicist to explore the questions that I have about the universe and the expansion thereof, and the formation of stars and all this other shit. And somebody said that, and Paul was like, "Yeah, I mean, like Noah Phoebes. I mean, she can do whatever she sets her mind to." And ever since then, I've been thinking, like, dude, should I legitimately become an astrophysicist? I never thought I was smart enough for that shit, but fuck it. Fuck it. What do I have but time? Right? What do I have but time in this life? And if I started now, that would be that much sooner that I would be able to have a degree and be able to go work for some research institution. But I also like the idea of mechanical engineering because, boy, fucking boy, howdy, do I have a whole bunch of crazy ideas about shit that I want to build that I just need more knowledge on how to build. So it fascinates me. That even fascinates me more, and I feel like it would even be more approachable to me. But, once again, I don't know, because another's like, go back to your roots. I've been cooking a shit ton lately, and I love it. I love it so much. I really fucking do. There are very few things that I like as much as I like cooking. It's just so fun for me. And I love the looks. I love the looks on people's faces when they bite into something that I made and it's really good. I love the praise, the effusive praise that people always sing over the stuff that's good. And the great thing about my family too is that they're not sugarcoaters. So like every so often I will make something that is just like I made some stuff the other night that came out just chewy. Apparently, all of it was just chewy, and not my proudest moment. And then I made some a pasta bake that was a little bit too greasy due to the overabundance of cheese, a bit too uh, salty, I think was the other complaint. I didn't personally think it was honestly all that salty, but the last time I made pizza, like day before yesterday, um, everybody in the house loved it. Everybody in the house was a huge fan, said it was my best pizza yet. And yesterday I made fajitas, and everybody loved them. So, I don't know. Long story short, I think sometimes about starting a, or maybe like a food truck. I think about that all the time too, dude. And I think that would be better suited to my fucking particular interests, right? Because if I made enough, I could always get me a fucking trailer or something to load it up on, or even just get a really good uh, food truck to set it up in, or convert or whatever, right? Either do a really good conversion on something that already works for the purpose, or buy a purpose built one that is built to drive long distances. Because, dude, I would love to like find a couple of states to get licensed and shit in, and just drive all over the fucking region. It'd be like traveling again, but better. And I'd probably have to stay in hotels. But other than that, it'd be fine. Uh, Even high class restaurants don't pay well where I'm at anyway. Well, that's fucking shitty, dude. Okay, so how the fuck do people afford to work there then? Oh my god, is it just like rich kids and shit? Dude, please tell me I'm wrong. Please tell me that there are some that it's like dying artist kind of thing. Like it's like a starving artist sort of engagement. Please tell me it's not rich kids who can afford to make minimum wage to work in a kitchen like that long enough to eventually make sous chef wages or something. Which one is it? Because, dude, if it's just fucking rich kids that can afford to work like that, dude, on the one hand, I guess good for them that they can afford to do that, and that's like an avenue open to them. I wish I had that. But on the other hand, that feels wrong somehow. A lot of people I worked with, there were working other jobs to make ends meet. Holy shit. Well, then I was right. It's just working class people that are just working their ass off, probably hoping to get that same thing, eventual promotion, far enough along the ranks to actually start getting paid decently. But that's just, dude, the restaurant industry sucks so fucking much balls. Can we just say that? Because people will tell you the restaurants are incredibly hard to turn a profit with, and incredibly hard to get up off the ground and shit, and all that's true. But it's not entirely true, right? There is a profit margin to be generated by restaurants, And super high-class, rich restaurants, from my understanding, take the best advantage of this by turning what is ultimately not the most expensive of ingredients in the world, especially when bought in bulk, into dishes that are worth, that are worth paying as if they were made from rare shit from across the planet. I don't know, in some cases that actually is. But even the seafood restaurant I worked at, our markup I think was between 85 and 125% of food cost. And I don't know where I was going with this. Oh, right. It was something like 85 to 120%, I think, of food cost, and a lot of it was eaten up by labor. The rest of the profit, right? The rest of the money's earned, but a super sizable portion of it went specifically to the ownership stake that that the person who, I guess, probably owned the business before the person that I worked for owned it. I don't fucking know. I'm really tired. But yeah, I miss working in the kitchen. But part of me feels like really well, no, I don't know, dude. I miss a lot of aspects of it. I miss having all sorts of weird, wacky characters, but I do get that in my current job. I do work in a restaurant still. It's just a fast food restaurant. So the kitchen atmosphere is way different. But we do still get a lot of, we still joke around with each other and shit. So there's still that humor and that banter. But I miss making big, giant batches of breading for chicken and just really getting in there with a big fucking wooden spoon and just having to stir for like 10 minutes to really get everything incorporated, right? Even though I was getting paid so little for that labor, it felt so cool that I was part of, whenever, it felt so cool that whenever someone would talk up how good Catfish Kettle was, I was one of the steps in that process, right? I was one of the stops along that train's route. Because it wasn't just, I did work a shit ton when I worked there. I would work a lot of times like 50-hour weeks. And a lot of times it would end up being me who did a lot of the basic type of prep work and shit because I could get done with it pretty quickly and I had a genuine interest in it. And I just miss that. I miss being appreciated the way I was by that place. I genuinely felt like I was appreciated in a lot of ways, even if I wasn't paid commensurate with that appreciation. And I feel like I could probably get those same feelings by just opening up my own food truck or opening up my own restaurant. See, if I open up my own restaurant, I gotta deal with people wanting to have their fucking wedding parties and shit in there. I deal with all that bullshit. But if I just open up a food truck, I only gotta worry about the inside of that truck. It's all I gotta fucking trip about, literally. And I can get hired to go out to a wedding or something, but I don't have to suffer its presence within my walls, So then the question becomes, what would I make? And I genuinely think I've got the makings of a great fucking pizzeria. Really do. Especially if I could get like an old Casey style oven. I need to figure out what they're called and see how much getting a hold of one would be. Because they're basically these ovens that have these conveyor belts on them, right? They're driven by a motor somewhere in the gut of the thing that rotates some spindles, and then they rotate this conveyor belt, and it's just a wire conveyor belt that you set pans with the completed pizza on it, and it's designed with a little stop at one end so that the pizza, when it's done, just kind of naturally comes to a rest. It will still stay warm for a while, especially because of the heat pouring off the oven, but it doesn't get overcooked, right? And then as soon as you notice that it's out, you pick it up and right? So having one of those would be super fucking useful, because those are, in my opinion, those are like the best thing you can ask for when it comes to like making pizzas quickly and readily, which is what I'd have to do if I opened a pizza themed food truck. Oh, fucking Lord. Now to come up with names for this potential new business. Pizza cake. No. Cheese wheels. No. This is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a genuine expansion of mental effort, because I straight up don't know what to call this weird little food truck I'm envisioning. There's a million ideas floating through my head, and none of them are good. All of them are bad. I could just call it Phoebe's Pizza, but what's the fucking fun in that? Where's the fucking joke? Where's the fucking fun? Where's the, like, one thing I want is, if I ever do this, I want people to see whatever advertising I have and think two things. Number one, I want them to think, holy shit, that's fucking, what the fuck is over there, bro? Whatever it is, it's probably got a good sense of humor. Let's fucking check it out. And two, holy shit, they've got the lowest fucking prices of anybody at the fair. And, yeah. I'm gonna get off here, y'all. I'm getting fucking dizzy and shit. Good night.